Hey everybody, it is Monday, September 9th, and what I wanted to talk about today is um, the reality um, of raising a large family and touch upon the misconceptions of raising a large family. Um, if you guys have been following me, you know I am expecting number 9 this fall. And so, yeah, a lot of experience. Um, and I encourage you to go and watch my Q&A video and the responses. I know they're quite lengthy, but it'll give you a great background and just kind of let you know who I am and, where I'm coming from and things like that. So some of the things that I say in this video you may or may not understand, but if you watch those videos and the responses, it'll clear up quite a bit. And basically the reason I did that was so that I could reach out to my audience in the most in the realest way possible. I don't want to come across on here as superficial or have videos that are scripted and things like that. You guys know that I don't use my regular camera or my video camera to do my videos. I use my phone. So I cannot edit. The only thing I can do is delete and re-record, which really, I don't have time to do that. When I do videos, I have to really think about this, the topics before I do them, and sometimes I have notes or it's just clearly off the top of my head. Like now, I had to really think about this video for a while because I actually did it a couple weeks ago, but I deleted it because I left some things out that were really important. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure I covered everything and leave room for comments and, further questioning. Oh yeah. First of all, I want to thank everybody for subbing, new, old. I have been around for, I think, over a year that I decided to do this. Basically just looking for somebody out there that's like me in my situation. A lot of people these days are a lot younger than me, and they don't have as many kids or kids that are as old as mine because I have teenagers. And I have a set of little kids. So really unique. And it's just hard to find somebody out there in YouTube world that is actually making videos. I mean, there may be people that are watching that are just not at the place where I am, where they can just come on and, open up and share their life with complete strangers. So, hopefully somebody will see this and find the courage to come on and just reach out to people and know that you can find a genuine audience and, genuine friends, even though it's pretty much cyber world. I have grown to know a lot of you all through your own channels and just through comments that you leave me or on Facebook. And I have to say that, I really appreciate you all. It means a lot to know that I can you know, come on here if I have a problem and just, you know, ask you all's opinions or, you know, just comments or just for the support that you all are giving me. I really appreciate that. It's too many people to name, but I know my regular followers and, you know, commenters and things like that. I see your comments. I do respond to your comments, as you can tell. And yeah, it takes a lot because, you know, like I said, I'm very busy, but I find YouTube as an outlet for me to, you know, be able to connect with people and, you know, find common interests. Anywho, I'm trying to find a good angle. You can see I'm still sick. I'm doing a lot better with this cold. It's been about a week now. And I was really miserable towards the end of last week, but that's let up quite a bit just over the last couple of days. So hopefully by the end of the week I'll be back to normal because I'm tired of being sick. That being said, I just kind of let a lot of stuff go. I didn't do any videos, I don't think, last week. Especially cooking because I didn't cook. So yeah, that's just, you know, something that happens. But, you know, I pull it together. The girls are old enough to know how to cook or, you know, put something together, and things like that. But one thing I want to touch on is somebody left me a comment that said, you make raising a large family look easy. I appreciate that. And Miss Yaya, I get what you're saying. I really do. You know, I'm not saying it's not easy. It is easy. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want to come on here like, you know, I have everything together and we don't have any problems and, you know, we're just, you know, super rich and, you know, having all these kids and no. You know, that's not me. It's not real and I'm not going to pretend it's real. Again, like I said, you're welcome to ask my kids questions and they can answer. Like I said, they won't answer on camera, but I will give you the response. You know, and like I said, go back and watch my Q&A videos. I've gone through a lot just through my lifetime. And, you know, having the kids, it's been quite an adventure. You know, we've been from the bottom to the top. I've gone through divorce. I've gone through single parenting with half my kids, you know, having to raise half my kids and not working outside my home for 15 years. So I'm pretty much knowledgeable as a single parent as well. Even today, there are things that I really have to manage on my own. There's a certain financial obligation that I have that's solely mine. So, you know, I really understand when people say, you know, we want to be financially stable, you know, and be able to afford having, you know, X amount of children and things like that and be able to give them this and, you know, be able to do this way and still live comfortably. Well, basically my theory on that is unless you are Trump rich, that's really never going to happen, and it's kind of superficial because you can't predict the future. And if you set yourself up like that, then, you know, you're just not going to you're not going to accomplish very much. And that's not even, you know, with kids. It's just in general. I started out, I had kids, not teenage young, but, young enough, so I grew with them, and, we started from the bottom. I was basically in college. What I can say is my husband, my ex-husband, was older than me, and he was had already been through college. He had his bachelor's, and back then, it didn't take much to come out and make $80,000, $100,000, and that was a lot of money back then. And to establish yourself back then was not as hard as it is these days. I was 21 when we owned our first home, and that was just something that we set up for ourselves. He said, look, I want to, I'm ready to buy a house, I'm ready to get married, I want to have kids, my family, they're having kids and things like that, and I just want to move forward. And yeah, I was still in college, but, I thought, well, if we can do this together, as long as I have your support, we're on the same page, we're building the same dreams and goals, basically, then I'm on board with it. And that's basically what we did. As I said, we did build a house from the ground up, and that was completely out of state. I've never lived anywhere after I moved out of my house from my mother, where I've had family. So I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. Pretty much when I move around. And that's just how it's been. I've had to meet people, and even then it's only, one or two people that I really can connect with. But those people are, they're really genuine, and I still have them in my life. Even if I moved out of state, I still have them. So that's, they're really genuine to have. But as far as, raising the kids, we never really set a limit. Well, I didn't. I think my ex-husband did. He kind of said 2 kids, and that was a long time ago, and I just, I said okay, but of course we didn't do anything about it until I think after the third one. It was like, I don't know, maybe it's time to stop. And I said, well, I had told him, I reminded him, I said, well, I told you after X amount of girls that there's going to be a boy, so if you want the boy, wait. And sure enough, that happened. Basically we had, this set number of kids, and it wasn't to say that we were finished. Even when the marriage was I guess viable with all these children. Nobody said we were finished. We just, things took a turn. So I knew that I was never wanting to set a limit on the number of children that I had. I didn't want to stop and think, I'm going to limit because of financial reasons and things like that, or just selfishly keep having them too. Because like I said, we have a game plan. We've always had a game plan, and even raising the kids by myself, I've had a game plan. I did not have to work outside of my home or, work at all, because we were pretty much financially set. We didn't create debt. We didn't go out and get, credit cards, that we couldn't deal with, what. Really, they were just on the basis of establishing credit. And it wasn't a whole bunch of them. It was 1 or 2. And that was it. And it wasn't used to go shopping. We just, did whatever, paid the bill just to, get that credit rating up. And so they were used very responsibly. let's see, what else can I say? We pretty much raised the kids to appreciate the things that they had. We didn't just, you know, I'm not going to say spoil, but, you know, they pretty much had everything that they needed. You know, they were taken care of. So, as far as, you know, living, like I said, we came from just regular, you know, apartment living to building a house. And it took a lot of work because, you know, you have you know, down payments and your earnest monies and things like that. And then you have to furnish the house and, you know, things like that. But everything we did was responsible. It wasn't, you know, charging up these credit cards to go buy a whole house full of furniture and this, that, and other. I was not really a showy type of person. You know, not trying to deck my house out, pleasing everybody in the world. You know, it's just not me. You know, but it wasn't a problem. You know, I watch somebody on here that has, I'm not really going to say how many, but I would say more than 7 kids, and their main goal, you know, through their videos is to show shopping, and I really haven't seen too much of, okay, really, you know, what are you doing for these kids? There are a couple of grown kids, but what are you doing for these kids future-wise? That's been a question asked of this person for as long as they've been on YouTube. For the past couple of years, people ask, how do you manage financially, especially for college and things like that. Now, that may be a little bit too personal for some people, but again, you know, if you're trying to get something across to people on here, yeah, we want to know, you know, is there a specific plan? Did you start saving when the kids were young? Are you taking care of them individually? Are you just solely looking for scholarships? Are you sending them to the military? Are grandparents starting funds? You know, those are things that are really pertinent when people are looking at, you know, is it really a good thing to raise a large family? And that's what I'm trying to get across. It's not all bad. But again, I'm looking at this person, and the basis of all their videos is they're going shopping. And it's not that they need it. That's just something they do because it seems like it's really pointless, and they have no other life but to go shopping. And it's ridiculous. And I've been there to the point where, you know, we were just like stupid rich, you know. I'm not going to say rich, trying to be ostentatious, but you know, we had a pretty decent amount of money per month to really blow. And, you know, I would go shopping, you know, on a whim just because. But that gets old after a while because you buy everything and it's like, okay, after you buy it, did you need it? You use it and it's like, oh, that's old, and let me go get something else. And then you sit there and think, you know, what am I going to do today? I'm going to go shopping. No, that's not me. I'm a college-educated person. I'm not going to sit here and waste my life going shopping every day, even if I could. It's just, you know, it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to raise my kids like that. You know, they have to know that life is not all about fun and games. Even if you were filthy rich, you're not just going to sit here and shop your life away. Live your life meaningfully. You know, have a purpose in your life. You know, if you're able like that, give that money away and help people, because there are people that need help. That's what's going to make a difference in the end. Not how many pairs of sneakers you have in your closet, not how many handbags you have, you know, things like that. That's just, after you're gone, that stuff is going to end up in the trash. You know, nobody, it's just excess. It's something that's fulfilling your life, and it's really not fulfilling your life. It's something that's, it's filling a void. You're running from something if you live a lifestyle like that. And so, yeah, I just I see that as it's unnecessary. That's not the way to live. Even if you had 20 kids and you could afford to do that, it's still not the way to live. Let's see what else I want to say. Let's see. As far as like I said, the kids, they never really set us back any. We never had to. I'm not gonna say we never had to worry, because we've gone through job losses, and like I said, I didn't work, so yeah, you have to stop and think. Okay, what are we gonna do if we have a job loss? And again, you can't be afraid of that. Those are things that are unpredictable. But if you live your life on that, you're going to set yourself up. Any one of you could be in an accident, and God forbid something happened, and one of you is gone or just totally incapacitated. Then what? You have to have that game plan and figure out, okay, this is what I'm going to do. If, this happens, this is what we can do. If this happens, have a backup. Because, like I said, you might not have family. You might not have friends, relatives, that you can readily depend on. But you will have those kids that you are obligated to take care of, regardless. If it's 1, 2, or 10. You still should be able to maintain without falling apart. So, let's see. Yeah, as far as setting yourself up, you want to make sure you're in a field where, I'm not going to say you're going to be totally protected from a job loss or anything, but be resourceful. Even though I did not work, I created work within my home. I sat home anyways with my kids, and a lot of my friends, neighbors, needed child care. And that was something I had already, that was part of my educational field in college. Actually, I started before college. But I looked at that at some point and said, hey, if this is what I'm going to do, they're asking me to watch kids, then I might as well look at opening up in-home child care. And at some point, that's what I did. First, it was just watching, kids here and there, and it was just, earning some spare money to do whatever. But after a while, I was able to create a space within the home that would not disrupt everybody else, and make it daycare friendly, pretty much. And it pretty much ran like a real business. I mean, it was a real business, but not like, a bunch of toys everywhere and you drop your kids off and they're going to watch TV and all that. No, that was not it. I had a system. I had menus. I had plans, things that were, I talk about my chore system and things with the kids, all that stuff. I always kept some sort of organization, things that were on the wall. The parents could come in at any time and check on these kids. I would have interviews at any time so that parents would not feel that it's scripted or, I'm just doing this just because. No, I want you to see it's real. Come in here. I invite you to look at what the kids are doing, look at what they're eating, look at what they're learning, because I also felt that these people are trusting me with their children. I need to educate them as well. They have homework, things like that during summer break. I didn't just let them sit there and watch TV. We didn't do that. And you guys know right now, today, we don't have TV. So that's not something we did. I actually had an interest and a passion for what I did. And it wasn't all about the money, because I was not the highest costing in-home child care by far. I had several kids that I would watch regularly, weekly, monthly, for little or nothing. because I saw single parents that just could not afford it. And, there was just no way. They need to live. And I have a big heart like that. And I said, look, I'm blessed, and someday maybe I'm going to be in this situation, and I would want somebody to bless me in the same way, And even if it doesn't happen, God watches. He sees all. So, like I said, that's just me. I have a big heart. My kids grown to love all the kids. They still talk about all the kids today. And, at one point I had about 11 kids, and that wasn't even mine. That was, in addition to mine. And, I was very successful at what I did. These kids I watched from when they were little all the way up to pretty much middle school, and that's what happened. Everybody pretty much was able to watch themselves, and things kind of changed, and I just said, look, I'm going to work outside the home now. My kids are in school, so there's really no need to sit here. But I did that pretty much, like I said. My kids were in middle school by the time I actually got out of my house. I think I had one in early elementary, my son. But, yeah, things like that. I also did hair. People would stop me in the store. They see my girls. Hey, who did this? How? Where can I find this person? And I said, I'm right here. So that was another thing, and it wasn't something that was hard to do. I did a little cosmetology really early on just to learn, and that goes back to being resourceful. You don't always have to have two working people to be able to afford to maintain your home. Find things within yourself that you already know how to do that you may have to use later on. I teach my kids all sorts of trades. My kids are all musically inclined. Just like me, they're learning different languages, things like that, because they never know when they may have to use that. Whether it's in college, somebody might need piano lessons or clarinet lessons or trumpet lessons or, a language lesson, and that's going to be an additional income to them. And how far they take it, I don't know, but that's something they'll never be unemployed in. You can always find something to do to bring in money. And surprisingly, if you are, passionate enough about it, you're going to gain your people. You're not going to have to worry about keeping a business. You're going to gain them. People are going to send people. I didn't have to advertise. I think maybe once I did when I started maybe, and after that, I never had to advertise again. People were just coming left and right, and because I had different ages and I had the space, I didn't have to turn anybody down. It was just my system of I had to pick the kids up from school, the ones that were not at the our subdivision school. So it was that type of thing, getting the kids to the house and things like that, but that all worked out fine too. So, again, like I say, find some things that you're good at and you can turn into money making, even if you don't want to stay or if you don't want to go to work. My thing was we determined early on we didn't want the kids in daycare. I wanted to be the one to raise them. We did homeschooling and unschooling and weekend schooling and summer schooling, things like that. So, things just kind of worked pretty much, and it's just how we did things. It's a lesson. The kids have gained a wealth of knowledge. They can say that I have taught them well. They're not just sitting here glued to the television, glued to the internet. If my kids are not in school, they're at the library. We live very close to the library. They will go to the library. And, they're getting books. They even rent or check out videos there. So, it's something I'm doing right that is really clicking with them, and I'm really, really happy about that. Even through going through a divorce, life altering. I'm not. That was something that was just. I'm not going to say unexpected. The impact is what was unexpected, and I'm still experiencing issues today. But I'm not going to say I've overcome them. Things, I just take them, as they come and deal with them as they come. Of course, it was the fact that I had to raise these kids by myself. Having to lose, my main person, and then that income goes away, and you have to figure out what you're going to do, regardless to any kind of support, things like that. That first couple of months, just going through the court process, you're pretty much stuck. And I see why a lot of people say they failed. That's their weakest moment in their life. When that person leaves that house and you wake up the next day and it's like, what am I going to do? You panic. I don't think I really panicked, but I just hit that moment and said, okay, you have to get up and you're going to have to do something. I still had to daycare kids, so I was pretty much okay. But I had a mortgage that I had to deal with. And that was something that was not going to go away. I had a big car payment, insurance that I had to deal with. That was not going to go away. So, it was pretty much, you have to deal with this. And that took, of course, the courts and things like that to set, everything in place. I'm going to say I came out well, but again, it changed our life drastically because we ultimately had to leave the city, which meant we left the house. So, having to relocate and find somewhere to live and things like that. These kids, this house was built, again, from the ground up, so this is what they knew. This is what they grew up in, and now we're just, in a totally different world, but, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm just, it's the end of the world for me. I still have days where I have bills. It's the first of the month right now. I have bills now. So, yeah, it is still hard. These kids just went back to school. They're getting older. They need more. If you guys are watching my my hauls, just the back-to-school haul alone, that was just the supplies that I showed. These kids are in uniform, and that's something like about a full set of uniforms for everybody, $650. We don't do school clothes, and any other school they wear in school, regular school clothes. I can say it's less expensive this way. But I know that, that is just my obligation as to having these kids. It's just something that's going to happen, and I have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do if I know this is coming up? We're just going to have to budget otherwise. And so when I say that, there are things that you can do, besides creating income. Yeah, I do work now. I'll get into that later. But there are also things that you can do to save. Don't go shopping every time you get paid. That's just not something that you need to do. You need to take care of your bills. You need to set aside what you can. And these days, that's hard for people, to hear, I set this aside. It's like, whoa, I don't know. But you have those unexpected things. You have car repairs, things like that. And, again, you might not have somebody to lean on, so you have to really think. Don't set yourself up and say, I'm going to be fine, or, I better not have, another kid, because then, this will happen, because the complete opposite will happen. Just know that you have to have a budget. You have to be real. You can't just sit and say, okay, I got my check and I'm getting ready to go do this. Next month you're going to have this. So you need to be planning ahead. You need to be planning ahead for next year. I have a child that's getting ready to graduate next year, but yet I'm working all these hours now because I know that I have no idea what's going to happen next year. I remember when I went to college, I didn't go away to college. She's planning on going away, and I just know that it's more expensive these days, period. It's just more expensive. So I'm thinking about, later on down the road, next year, what's going to happen, what it's going to take. We've got dorm fees, something that I have not dealt with. So this is going to be a whole new experience. Like I said, what we do now, there's no TV, no cable, no internet, and even if we had TV, it was Amish cable, where you get the little converter box, and you got 3 or 4 channels. That's what we have. Because it's just not worth it. We really don't have time to sit and watch TV and all this, and that's not helping us. These stars are already rich. It's not helping us. So, yeah, so eating out, that's another big expense. It's just, it's really unhealthy. I'm not going to get into it, but, both you work outside the home, you take lunch every day. That's easily $60, $70 a week each. And if you learn how to cook, you learn how to make your meals at home. Even if you know how to cook and you just say, well, I have the money, you know what? That's the wrong attitude. Pack your lunch, save the money. Even if you're just putting that extra $70 away. You guys know our cloth diaper. That's just something I always did. I hear people say the cloth diaper because of financial reasons. Okay, we're going to go deeper than that. That money that you're saving on not buying diapers that month, actually take that money, put that money in the bank. Don't just say, well, I didn't have to buy diapers, because that's what I would do. That money that I didn't have to use that month for buying disposable diapers, if I wanted, because I could do it, if I wanted a CD, I would go buy a CD, or if I wanted to go to the movies, I would go to the movies, or something like that. But also, that was vacation money. Nobody knew I was doing it, but I would put that money away for a vacation. Or I would put that money away for somebody's birthday party, because that's something we would do, is have a pretty elaborate birthday party. Because we just felt that was something to make each kid special, and they had a ball. I can really honestly say that. They had a ball. They remember it. They still talk about it. It's something that is special to them. It's unique to them. So that's what I did with that money. And again, I didn't tell anybody. It's just something I did. I didn't just say, they're in cloth diapers, I saved the money. No, that money is actually being saved. There's, lots of people are into couponing, they're into bulk shopping, menu planning, recipe planning. That can save a lot of money if you do the right thing. Consignment sales, things like that, reselling kids' clothes. Those types of things are ways to cut a budget, drastically, especially when you're looking at how can we save and yet grow our family the way we would like. It can be done. The hair, grooming, the nails, pamper me sessions, things like, what do men do? Games, sporting events, things like that. there's a limit to that. You know, if you want those type of things, you have to be realistic and say, okay, you know, let me kind of carve out a budget, and you'll find more times than none, going to a sporting event, you can't afford season tickets. You can only afford to go to that game. Then only go to that game. Do not set yourself up and take away from the rest of the family because that's what you want. It's not fair, and it will catch up with you in the long run. What else? This video is quite long. Let me cut this and go to part 2. Thanks, guys.